do, which means you got to die. You got to stop existing. You got to stop, stop caring about surviving. Relinquish that God-given desire to survive and thrive. Just, that's, no, you got to save the planet for the elitists. It's okay for them, you know, to spew this nonsense about saving the earth and global climate change and all this. And, how they won't talk about how the only constant all throughout history has been change. The earth has never been stagnant in terms of that. I mean, it always, since recorded history, that can be proven. Like, it's just nonsense. These elitists, they live by a double standard. They're big fat hypocrites. They're on the highway to hell. These are the types that would far rather rule in hell than serve in heaven. Okay, so heaven, for all intents and purposes, for these evildoers that are now in control of the world and humanity by extension, okay, heaven would be hell to these people. So what's God to do with them? You can say, oh, he's mean. He's going to send them to hell. Well, wait a minute. What does that say for his saints, the righteous, decent, upright people out there? How's he being a good guy to them to let them continue to be bullied, pushed around, and murdered? What, for all indefinitely, for all eternity, perpetually by evildoers? You think that's okay? God should go for that because it's mean that he throws people into hell? Come on. Come on. Let's think things through, my friends. It's just like, where you stand with little issues like law and order. And, well, I don't think that should be illegal, or they ought to make this illegal. And by the way, I'm joking about, ladies that are so cute and, they all need to be married because it should be against the law that a single woman could be that cute because she's driving men nuts. Hey, listen, but all kidding aside, though, when it comes to like how liberal you are with laws, and you think, well, it's a liberal thing to allow abortion, a woman's right to choose, and I can say that. But in all fairness, it is a second choice. The first choice was having sex, unless she was forcibly raped, which is against the law, right? You can't do that. So he broke the law, and in that case, I would say certainly, I mean, she definitely, I mean, this guy completely violated her body, her everything about her soul. I mean, it's just wrong. So yeah, I mean, I would say yeah, definitely she gets to at least have the first choice. But when it comes to abortion at will, on demand, in all honesty, let's just call a spade a spade. It is a second choice. So I'm pro-choice, first choice, that she should have the right with her body to whether she lays down with a guy or not. But the consequences thereof, I don't know. You know what I mean? Should there be a law against it? I don't know. I mean, how would it be better? I mean, I don't want to make women feel bad, but I say let's at least eliminate the financial motivation for an abortion. So, in other words, a woman makes sure that any woman, all the women are financially well heeled. That's why all of us, and we can't just say women, that'd be sexist. So it's everybody's got to be financially well heeled. No financial desperation is the best way to curb abortion. But as far as other laws, everybody's got a degree of liberality. Say, yeah, I think, we should allow this and that. But then everybody out there, you see the most liberal of people, at some point they become conservative. Wait a minute, now you're going too far. So they become the great deciders, the great arbiters, the great judges, right? All of a sudden, no, now you crossed a line. Now we're going to come down on you. But you see, I mean, it's just like splitting hairs at some point where they will take liberalism this far, but then it ends. We decide where, when you push the boundaries too far. You see, so it's kind of an obnoxious trait that people are wishy-washy and fickle and, they're like very tolerant. You should be, and always espousing this, tolerance. But then they watch them get totally intolerant when you push one of their buttons. Oh, no, that's going down. I don't agree with that. You understand? So I don't particularly like that mentality, that caliber of people. That's pseudo-liberalism in my mind. Okay? And I talk about buying people houses and get them off Section 8. Well, you're going to pay Section 8 forevermore. Either that or you could buy them houses and then be done. That's it, man. You save those tax dollars. But no, I'm going to be called too liberal for that. I'm thinking, oh my God, what in the hell is wrong with this picture? Think, people, think. For God's sake, think, my friends. The preposterous notion that we don't exist anymore when we die is acutely delusional, wishful thinking by evildoers. Yeah, in their dreams, they won't exist. No, man. You're going to keep on existing, and God might turn out to be just like you. Isn't that your worst nightmare? But you got to stop bullying the righteous. Repent or perish. That's it, man. So, I'm talking to evildoers just as much as anybody else out there. I comfort, encourage, and try to strengthen the righteous and say, you're on the right side of history. Okay, you're the ones that are going to be filled with those that hunger and thirst for righteousness. You're going to get your way. You're going to be filled. You watch God work. You watch. Even if you die in the interim, He'll raise you up, resurrect you, give you an imperishable body, and you're going to be found worthy and deserving of inheriting all those good. But the idea is to reach out to the evil ones that are off track, that they don't even know they're evil. Believe it or not, I just have a feeling that there's a lot of people that don't even know they're evil. Jesus said we're like the harvesters. When Jesus returns, He doesn't come alone. He doesn't come as a baby. He comes as the King of Kings and Lord of Lords. But He comes with this host of holy angels. They're referred to as the harvesters of the souls of men. But He said the harvest is ripe even as He was teaching 2,000 plus years ago, walking this earth. And you too, like myself, can partake in the harvest of souls of men. It's happening. This is like the pre-harvest, is getting them ready to say, hey, you can choose right now, this little window of opportunity, to either be a weed or to be a cultivar. The cultivars are saved, and they're precious treasures to God. And He's going to protect you, and He's going to give you all good things. I hath not seen nor ear heard what the Lord has in store for those that love Him. All things work together for good for those who love God and are called according to His purposes in Christ Jesus. Okay, it's a beautiful thing. So God is on your side if you're righteous. But if you're evil, He's not on your side. How can He be? He can't be both. So you know what? You have to decide individually whether to be good or bad, to be holy or to be evil. And it had nothing to do with religion. It just has to do with putting two and two together and saying, logically speaking, there's a God. He's probably all powerful, and I think there's evidence that He's a loving God and a logical God. And you know what? Yeah, I got the fear of the Lord in my soul, and that's a good thing. I want it there. It's like accepting the directive, the guidance, the counsel is what you've done. Okay, that's all it is. It's reverence. It's deep, profound respect for the one that rightfully owns you. That's all it is. It's a beautiful thing. If they want to call you religious, let them. What can you do? It's written in Scripture. King Solomon's writing again. You could beat somebody that's acting foolish with a mortal and pestle, and they're still going to be foolish. That's it. Some people are just bent on being defiant, and they're sociopathic, and they just want to rub you the wrong way if you're a decent person. And God have mercy on their souls. It's like a demonic possession or something, some people. How do you explain all these crimes I hear people committing? How do these detectives, these cops, good God, what a tough job. And to think that somebody's hired to be an executioner, we'll talk about the toughest job in society. You have to be a real sicko to enjoy a job like being an executioner. The great economist Adam Smith wrote in his book, The Wealth of Nations, that this is the most onerous job in society. So, you know what? If nobody was willing to do it, and you believe in the capital punishment, then you would have to do it. Let's go to a lottery system for those really undesirable jobs. Wouldn't that be more fair than just subjugating somebody else and relegating somebody? You do it. No, you do it. You know what I mean? It's like, hey, and there's a lot of those jobs in society, but we're smart. We can find other ways to, around it. We can create machines to do most of the undesirable jobs like we already have for so many of them. Very hard, labor-intensive jobs out there. We are smart, and we can create and innovate and invent technology. And, we're in the industrial age here. We mechanize. We have state-of-the-art implements and tools, equipment. Okay, we can make a little work out of what used to be a huge amount of work. We could be working 2, 3, 4, 5-hour work weeks if we're lucky now, doing productive stuff. And so we got to figure out what to do with all our time. I mean, that is falls under the category of your problem, my problem. I mean, if you need somebody to tell you how to spend your life in eternity, that you need Big Brother. You need like, oh well, I need to live under these rules and regulations that don't even make sense half the time, and the ones you think there should be rules and regulations, they don't exist. You don't under, there's no explanation of why this or that is illegal. No, it just is. It's just because we say it is. I can't walk around naked downtown. I mean, I'm not saying I want to. I wouldn't. I mean, like I said, I'm kind of a modest guy, and I certainly am not going to, engage in any public displays of nudity. But that's to each his own. I would say, you know what? I mean, if somebody else wants to, do it, who am I? I mean, I say I'm a liberal, or I say, I believe in the Bible. I mean, what does it say in there about it? Well, actually, there is some things about, modesty is recommended, and even in the hereafter, in the next life, I mean, we're going to get these robes of righteousness it talks about. But you see, it's just important for us to see how this idea of nakedness makes us distinct from all the creatures. There's something wrong with this picture. We're supposed to be oblivious to our nakedness, just like all the other creatures. I mean, you want to wear clothes, that's fine. You're smart enough to say, I put on something warm, it's cold out. Or take off clothes, it's warm out. So why don't I take them all off? Because I'm naked now. And I mean, I might offend somebody. Or, isn't that illegal? You see? Do we question, what's going on here? Why? What's the problem here? It's the same thing. I mean, with the money, it's like it's so much in our face that we just comply and conform, self-censor, that we all just accept it as the norm. You go out, you get a good education, you get a good job, and you comply, conform, capitulate to the existing system. Yes, of course, you have a cost of living, duh. That's just the way it is, and accept it, and go through life as just a mindless minion, brute beast, automaton, just, please the elitists, and, they own the earth rightfully, right? I mean, of course, everything's got to make sense somehow. It's all right that the Rockefeller, Rothschild class, and all their ilk run the show. That's a given. That's just the way it is. Why beat my head against the wall and exhaust myself in trying to change things that have been that way forever? I mean, the rich get richer and the poor get poorer, and I accept it, and I comply and conform. I mean, who the hell are you if that's your attitude? You see that you're nobody. I mean, you're kind of, what substance do you have on Judgment Day to stand for? I fought the good fight. I really gave a damn. I proved I loved. And here's the evidence for what I did. So, you just want to be on the right side of history, my friends, and you got to have the right values. And, God will reveal all this to you. It's just because he loves you just as much as he loves me or anybody else. He's revealed these things to me, and he'll reveal them to you. Life's short. Get smart quick. Suppose there is no hell, but rather this current existence was as hellish as it ever could be, or at least as hellish as we needed to experience. That by working diligently to making this existence a bit less hellish, we were choosing to win the right not to go to a more hellish hell. This would be sufficient incentive for everyone to behave in a godly fashion and fight the good fight for a better world, a better overall human existence. After all, why wouldn't we? That's right. It's all logical. It all makes sense from God's point of view. And all we have to do is ask to see what that point of view is. It's going to be shown to you as clear as light of day, just like it has to me. Nobody could prove me wrong that we can't all live together in peace and harmony, safety and security until it's been tried. That we can't all be absolutely free from birth, cradle to grave, free, financially free, okay? It has to include financial freedom or it's not absolute freedom until it's been tried, and it's never been tried. There's never been any appreciable period in history that I know of where people were living without any form of money at all. I mean, bartering would be a hell of a lot more fair. I mean, even under capitalism, supply and demand, which I'm always a proponent of, I would say, well, if it gets too harsh and the prices go up too much because of a disruption in the supply chain, it would be a lot more fair to ration. And I think everybody would agree, yeah. I mean, at some point you say, well, nobody eats at all unless everybody at least first gets a bite. We got to learn to live on that bite before somebody gets to hoard all the food because they got all the money and they can buy